It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Reese with another upload! I don't know what that was. This game's a little different. It's not like something that we usually play, but nothing's off limits here on the channel. You can find anything from a GTA 6 review to a Cooking Mama review on this bitch. It didn't take me a year to upload this time, thank God. But let me jump right into this, man. We ain't gonna make y'all wait no more. The game we're reviewing this time is something called South of Midnight. South of Midnight is a game developed by a studio that's known as Compulsion. It's a linear stop-motion action-adventure story game. I must say the stop-motion aspect threw me for a loop early on, and I only managed to get about 30 to 40 FPS, but it wasn't bad. It was still smooth and playable, which I know doesn't make sense, but when I did eventually figure out how to get the FPS to a normal 100 plus, the game didn't feel too different. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's worth pointing out. I beat the game in a little over 14 hours, and aside from that, the game ran very well mostly. Usually when I say a game looks good, I mean in a realistic sense, but this game has a different beauty to it. The art style is perfect for what the game is. The characters are all well designed along with the bosses. The environments are stunning and the game rewards you a lot for looking around. There's hidden lore and bonus XP everywhere, but sadly there's no trinkets or gadgets to buff your character or any armor to make her look cooler. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. But on the other hand, there's no reason you shouldn't get all your upgrades, I say as I beat the game without maxing out. This game hands out XP like candy on Halloween. And there aren't too many upgrades. It's not like some new games with super extensive skill trees. This game is a bit more traditional. You get a few abilities that you can upgrade how you see fit. None of the abilities are too crazy. You got your standard push and pull attacks. You got this thing called weave, not bob and weave, although you can bob and weave. This weave kind of renders your opponent useless and makes them take extra damage for a little bit. And then we have a form of possession. Hazel's kind of like a psychic. Maybe one day they'll make a part 2 where she's a lot stronger and learn how to do more. I'd play that. Compulsion games, if you're listening, make a sequel. And in the sequel, turn up the combat, because it's pretty mid in this one. I won't say bad because the boss fights were decent, but every other fight outside of those were copy and paste, and there were no random encounter enemies. You know exactly where a fight is going to start because there's specific fighting zones. You fight like 8 to 12 of the same enemy types every time from early game to late game. The formula does not change. It's a cakewalk. I've died more to my shitty platforming than the enemies. The boss fights, while much better than regular fights, aren't super amazing. They're not FromSoft level, but they're decent. I think one boss managed to kill me, which means you watching this can expect to die anywhere from 15 to 35 times. Running through the environment is low-key better than the fights. If you take time to look around and get immersed, you can find a whole lot of lore. And the story of the little town is actually quite interesting. But the best part of the game is by far the soundtrack. That's the one thing this game did better than any other game I've ever played. The music was perfectly handcrafted for every moment. It makes you really feel the scenes. Running up Benji's tree with the song all about how he got betrayed in the background was a great moment. And there's lots of these, only ruined by me messing up jumps and falling to my death. Our story begins in a little town called Prospero. Inspired by New Orleans, this is where our main character Hazel is from. One night, Hazel is home alone preparing to evacuate the town due to a hurricane. And y'all know hurricanes don't play with New Orleans, man. Shout out to Katrina. Hazel's mom, Lacey, returns home to help pack to evacuate. But she sends Hazel to go and check on their neighbors to make sure everything's alright. And while she's doing that, the house is swept off its foundation right into a river with Mama in it. Hazel in a panic chases after the house. Because Hazel's track and field background, she's able to close the distance before taking a leap of faith in a desperate attempt to reach the house. Surprisingly, she sticks the landing, but falls as debris collides with the house, knocking her off and into the river. Suddenly, she mysteriously appears back on the riverbank, and she sees some magical looking wisps or swirls or strands. But never mind that. Hazel locks back in and continues her chase, but just isn't fast enough. Now all alone and confused, she looks around and sees just one building in town with the lights still on. It's a mansion. Her grandmother's house. Being desperate, she'll take any help she can get, so she goes to see her grandmother, Bunny. Bunny suggests that they wait till the storm passes over before they go out to search for Lacey. Hazel, not really keen of the idea of waiting, passes out and has a vivid dream. No, a vision of her mother terrified and alone and then she gets snatched up by forces unseen. Hazel wakes up in a panic and discovers her grandmother has locked her in a room. While she bangs on the door calling to her grandmother to let them out, some evil looking magical roots appear from under the door, and then Hazel sees more strands. They're calling to her. They show Hazel a way out into the rest of the mansion. She snoops around a bit and discovers that her grandmother has also seen the magical strands, and that it means she's something called a weaver. She even finds magical hooks used to manipulate the strands stashed away. Then more of the evil roots, or stigma as they call it, appear, and Hazel makes an escape out the mansion with her new hooks, her new powers, back on the search for her mama. Now on the surface, this might come off as just another game with some cool shit in it, like so many others, and you would be right to think that, but it's so much more. This is a story of grief and trauma that's lasted for generations, betrayal and deception. As you play, you'll see things aren't how they seem. You'll learn deep, dark secrets from Hazel's family in the town of Prospero. Things like how Bunny abused Hazel's father and absolutely adored his sister, and treated her so much better than him, he grew up to fear his mother. One day while playing with his sister, they got dirty and he knew he would get in trouble. So in an attempt to clean off his sister, he took her down by the river, which she ended up accidentally drowning. And the pain of losing her baby led Bunny down a very dark path. And I don't blame her. I'd burn the world down for mine too. But the lore gets deep, bro. The characters are great. From the catfish that helps you along the way, giving you the heads up on what he knows about weavers, to Rue's smooth talking, high stepping Sandman wannabe ass. There wasn't many characters, but that's what makes them all more memorable. This game isn't perfect, but they execute where it counts. The story is great. It had me hooked, and the more I played, the more I wanted to play. Even though the actual gameplay isn't anything to write home about, they told a great story. Yeah, the combat gets repetitive and there's only a handful of enemy types, but shit, name a game that doesn't get repetitive. Don't worry, I'll wait. Exactly, at least this one tells an amazing top tier story and isn't 50 plus hours long where you need to dedicate a whole month to beat it. Let me say it again before anybody gets the wrong idea. This game is not perfect. It has many flaws, but it isn't a bad game at all. I don't understand why it gets such a bad rep online. I even seen a nigga complaining about how the game guides you on where to go when you push the damn button that tells the game to guide you where to go. Like, bro, just shut the fuck up at this point, bro. Like, literally the craziest reach I have ever heard in my life. That's like saying I don't like how Hazel moves when I try to make her move. Some people just think it's cool to hate, and it's not. Another thing, this game retails for $40, and that's fair compared to all the $70 and $80 bullshit coming out. Personally, that's not a price I would pay. I played the game through the Game Pass, but if I was to buy it, I would absolutely wait for a sale. I did a little research on Compulsion Games, and it seems like a valid studio. Not many games, but they think outside the box, and I like that. But I've been rambling long enough though. Now the game is really fun, and the story is great, but with the combat being as bad as it is, part of me wants to give the game a 3. But then you remember how South of Midnight literally has one of the best soundtracks of any game I've ever played. It tells a 10 out of 10 story in my opinion. I kinda wanna give the game a 4, but I can't. This is just another game. Nothing about the gameplay was spectacular at all. South of Midnight is an entry-level game. This is the type of game you let a child play when they're learning how to play games. It's not challenging, it's not gonna make you think too hard, but it's fun. I have to give South of Midnight a 3. And there's nothing wrong with being a 3. Nothing was innovating, nothing was groundbreaking. It's just a solid regular game. If it goes on sale for like $5, I would say pick it up, but the $40 price tag is no. And that's really the only way I would recommend this game, but I did enjoy it.
That's how a new weaver came to be in Prospero.
Well, well. Not bad at all, Hazel Flood.
I appreciate it. I gotta get going. Instead, I meet Ma and Laurent for dinner. See y'all later.